Hey, it's me, Dash Ireland here, back from a long absence because of anime binge watching and exams. But today it's another episode where we have a special guest star today with me, my friend down here, Spencer Nicholas. Why don't you give a little introduction, man?
Hey, good to be on Dash's call. Thanks for having me, Dash.
Yep. So, what we're going to be talking about today is stuff dealing with music because I'm a music whore. He's got some history with music.
I guess you could say I'm the music prostitute, if you will. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. I'm just trying to be funny. You're the real oh my gosh, the real comedical genius here, buddy.
Yeah, I guess if you're the musical prostitute, that makes me the musical pimp.
Can you not?
Oh, I got a joke. If a guy wears a toupee at a football game, does he have to remove it for the national anthem?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't have a toupee. Redheaded stepchild.
Why? Okay, let's get started. So, why don't you give your history with music, throughout growing up and whatnot, what music you were around, any instruments and whatnot.
Is it okay if oh my gosh, is it okay if I just hold on to the mic to describe my stuff? I'm
Um,
just asking your permission.
well, it's
So,
just because the chord.
I can be careful.
Just grab it up here.
I got you.
That sounds so wrong.
Okay. Anyways, I guess from a young age, I've been involved in listening to different forms of music. Back when I was, let's say, before I was 10, I've been exposed to a lot of music from the 1980s, the 1960s, and so on and so forth. There was like a CD with a bunch of songs that at the time, I guess I called it the weird music CD because there was a lot of songs I didn't know all that much about and didn't know a lot about as well. Like stuff on there included "When Doves Cry" by Prince, um, other stuff like that. Then I guess around fifth grade, I decided I wanted to be involved in music a little more, so I asked my dad for a guitar and some guitar lessons. So I've been playing guitar for about 9 years, I would say. And then around my senior year in high school, I wanted to broaden my instrumental capabilities. So I asked my dad for a bass guitar for Christmas, and he definitely delivered. Um, since before we were doing this podcast, Dash and I were talking about naming the instruments, and I said if I were going to name my guitar, it would probably be Johnny because two, I grew up listening to Johnny Cash as well, and the guitar that I have is black, so it would just fit right into it. Also, Dash has something to say to that.
Yeah, talking about naming my instruments. My first guitar was an electric acoustic, but the electric part don't work anymore because it's old and belonged to my grandfather, and he just let me play it, and I basically stole it off him. And he knows I have it, and I named it Omar because after a while I started to really hate it and whatnot. And at one part, the part that you put the strings through, like the end of the strings is that popped off, and I had to get that fixed. There's one guitar I bought for like $80. It was my first guitar I ever bought, and it was a green Fender Stratocaster. It was one of the limited edition Squire Strats, and I named her Jade. And I don't even play her anymore because there's so many problems, and I want to get a new electric. After that, I bought a bass guitar for a friend of mine for $100, and he even included the amp with it, and I named it Nova after Creased Nova Creased Novoselic of Nirvana.
You had a hard time getting it out there, buddy.
A Creased Novoselic of Nirvana, and it's a nice electric blue bass. And then after that, I was kind of with that for a while until back in January, well, late December of 2017, I got my own electric acoustic guitar with the sound I wanted. I named her Ella, and she's been nice. And plus, with the new recording equipment I've gotten, I've been making some new riffs and whatnot. I'm getting ready to uh, record some new music for the upcoming set of songs that'll be under the name of Ruthless Age. It might be an EP that I'll put out.
Anyways, I also decided, with the bass I got, it was like a darkish red. In a way, you can say it's kind of crimson, but with it being red, I decided to just go ahead and name the bass Rosie because it works out that way. But um, while I was also a kid, I was introduced to my now all-time favorite band, which would be Kiss. And like ever since I could remember, starting to listen to them, I just absolutely loved their music, and I loved how they looked on stage. The makeup, the costumes, the pyro, like everything about them made me love them. And as of now, I've actually been fortunate enough to see them twice. Once in Charlotte, North Carolina, back in July of 2014. And then the second time was here recently, about 2 years ago, in my hometown of Huntington, West Virginia. And I actually had floor seats for that show. And during the song Love Gun, Paul Stanley usually flies out to the audience. And my seat was actually about 7 seats away from the platform that he comes out to. And luckily enough for me, I actually had his face paint on that night. He didn't get to see it, but I was that close to what you could say a rock god. But with them going out on their end of the road farewell tour, I am probably going to get to go see them one more time to make it my third and final time. And I'll probably get to see them at their Columbus show in March of next year. And then my little cousin, well, she's not so little anymore. She'll be turning 13 this month, actually. She'll finally get to see them for the first time because they'll be in Atlanta, Georgia in April. So I had to tell her about it. And she already said, her dad was going to get her some floor seats if they came around. And I told her, this is their last tour. Start begging. And she said it's already done. That if they were going to come around here, her dad, my uncle, was going to get her some tickets to go see them. So I'm glad that she'll finally get to see them on tour as well. And then going back to the 2014 tour that they went on, I got to see one of my other favorite musical groups because they were touring with them. It was Def Leppard.
What
My,
has 9 arms and sucks?
I'm not sure. What has 9 arms and sucks?
Def Leppard.
You shut up. There you have some good music, buddy.
Pour some sugar on me.
Do not disgrace their music again like that, my good sir. I saw that. Luckily, no one else did. Anyways,
It was a middle finger.
of course. Let's see. I actually have a list of all the groups that I've gotten to see so far, which I'm going to go ahead and pull up real quick because they actually range in genres. Like some are hard rock, some are pop. And
also talk about what if you also talked about stuff like history with like singing and whatnot, like being in a choir and whatnot?
I can also talk about that as well.
After all, we are talking about like our origins with music and whatnot.
Very true. Anyways, I can say the first group I actually got to see in concert was actually Three Doors Down. I was at the National Boy Scouts Jamboree in 2013, and what happened was originally they were supposed to have Train and Carly Jepsen come to the Jamboree and perform, but due to some controversy that was going on at the time, which I will not divulge into at the moment, they both pulled out, so they had to get a couple of replacements. One of them was a girl named Sarah Centeno. She was really good. But then they managed to get Three Doors Down to be the replacement for Train. And I can tell you, that was an absolutely epic concert. But anyways, a lot of these groups that I'm going to mention now definitely range in different genres. I've seen Kiss twice right now. Seen Def Leppard. I saw Journey, Asia, For King and Country, Red, Sidewalk Prophets, New Song, Lauren Daigle. All of those, of course, were Christian-based bands. Um, I've seen Tony Bennett, very classical singer. He was in his 90s actually when he came to perform at Huntington. Really cool dude. He actually his last song was Fly Me to the Moon by Frank Sinatra, and he didn't even need a microphone. He just went to the front of the stage, and you could hear him throughout the entire theater. That's how good he was. Then, of course, when Kiss came to Huntington, they brought a band with them called the Dead Daisies, and they're really good too. If you get the chance, listen to the song "Make Some Noise." It is a really good song of theirs. And then recently, Dash, myself, and a couple of our guys from Broad Culture, like John and Hal, and then a couple girls that are involved, like Megan and some of her friends. We went to this music festival at it was called Planet Fest at Harris Riverfront Park here in Huntington, and groups we got to see Facing Fire, which then we saw this.
They ruined the cover of Break by 3 Days Grace.
It is what it is. Sorry guys if you're listening. We also heard The Stir, Stone Broken from England, really good group. Adelita's Way, guys who have been involved with writing music for WWE and such. Finally got to see them. And then the headlining group, we got to see Fozzy of all groups.
Not only did we see Fozzy,
We saw Chris Jericho with the light-up jacket, and all of us there marked out like we were little kids. We felt like kids in a candy store when the lights went down and that jacket came on, and he did his iconic Y2J pose. Dash also wants me to talk about, my history with singing. I've started, singing a long time ago, and then, I reached high school, and there was this group at my high school, and they were involved in something called show choir, which I had no idea what it was. But I was also involved in the musical. My freshman year, it was Footloose the Musical, and a good majority of the people in the musical were involved in show choir at our school. So they convinced me to try out, and I got in, and I was in that group for 3 years. I was privileged enough to win a state title with the group. I had the opportunity to go on a couple of spring break trips with them, one to the Bahamas on a Royal Caribbean cruise line, and then also got to go to New York City with a few of them and experience that place, which I will tell you, one of the best cities to go to at least visit. I wouldn't say live there, but to visit, it's one of the best places to go. We got to take a tour of Madison Square Garden. We got to take a tour of Radio City Music Hall. Let me tell you, though, if you get the chance to go to New York, take those 2 tours. They are something else. I can tell you, like right now, if you go to Radio City Music Hall, they will take you to this one area where only the people who perform there get to go to, like for after parties and such. And there is this guest book there that's signed by a lot of famous people. Just to name a few, Henry Ford, the guy who invented the Ford automobile industry, his signature's in there. Paul Simon, Dolly Parton, Mariah Carey's signature's in there. Who else? Woody Woodpecker, for some odd reason, I guess the person who either voiced him or created him, put his signature in there. I have pictures of this, but I don't want to, take much time, to find it. Actually, wait a minute. I have an album on my phone. I can actually find it very easily. Just hold up for 1 second.
Just remember our time limit, bud.
What's the time limit?
I can't remember.
Well, that's great. I'm gonna try to speed through it. Liberace, John Legend, Cyndi Lauper. Yeah, Al Gore, and also you get to meet a member of the Radio City Rockettes. So there's also that. But because of that group, I got to do so much that I thought I would never get to do. Um, I'm still involved with them to this day. I help them out whenever they need to. I'm friends with a lot of them. I'm friends with the new director. He's a really nice guy. Um, and I can tell you, their show this year is going to be absolutely insane. I won't divulge any further than that because I don't know if people from other opposing choirs may listen to this. Probably doubt it right now, but you never know. Anyways, they're going to have a phenomenal year this year, I believe, and I'll get to go on the spring break trip with them, so I will get to go to Chicago. Um, that's all I can really say about my history at the moment. So I'll hand it over to Dash and see what he has to say, any rebuttals or such.
With my history of music, I've got quite a bit under my belt. Cause like, I've done a lot of things involving music and sound stuff. Whenever I was a little kid, I was mainly obsessed with the Beatles. I was also exposed to Jimi Hendrix, The Doors, um, Green Day, The Offspring, Metallica. Those were the big names that I listened to as a child. And now I didn't talk till I was about 4, and my singing voice was realized when I was around like second grade or something like that. Because I remember one time when I was like 7 years old, 8 days a week by the Beatles was playing, and I just started singing along to it. And I loved it.
Great song, by the way.
Yes, it is, because I love the Beatles. And the first time I ever really showed my voice in front of people, I was like 9 years old whenever my parents renewed their vows, which they're divorced now, so fuck that. But anyways, like I performed "Daytime, Nighttime, Suffering" by Paul McCartney whenever he was with the Wings, because I was a big Paul McCartney fan. Throughout middle school, I was absolutely obsessed with the Beatles. I even have a Beatles Monopoly set, and I also had some like interest in like pop music, and I look back on that, I'm like, ugh, like I cringe, like I physically cringe and whatnot. And then through late 8th grade and the freshman year, I was big on Green Day again, and I was like into them. I was punk. And then sophomore year, I was invested in the Offspring a lot more. I was following them around. Then junior year of high school, I followed the Foo Fighters and Red Hot Chili Peppers quite a bit. I learned their histories and whatnot. And then senior year was where everything turned me basically into a whore, because that was when I was truly obsessed with Shinedown.
Here we go, people.
It was like, yeah, I got obsessed with Shinedown. I was like dressing up like Brent Smith back from 2015. But it was about my singing voice. Like, yeah, the second time I really showed my voice in public was for a talent show back in 7th grade. And then after that, it wasn't until I did musical my sophomore year when we did Fiddler on the Roof. And then junior year, whenever we did Thoroughly Modern Millie. And then at the end of junior year, I tried out for my high school's madrigal choir. And I got in. I was a bass, but then second semester, I went up to baritone because I wasn't able to hit as low as notes as all the other basses, but I was able to like go up to some higher ranges, so I was placed as a baritone. And we did quite a bit of touring throughout the first semester of my senior year. It was quite fun going all around the places. We went as far down as St. Mary's. We mainly went around local areas. We even performed at my own church. I started playing guitar around sophomore year, and like I'm completely self-taught, and I was just mainly cooking up riffs and whatnot, that kind of thing, trying to learn songs to cover. And I didn't start learning to be able to like play and sing at the same time until 2016, and I finally started fully composing my own music freshman year of college. And ever since then, I've been uh, g- doing my songwriting, which I actually play multiple instruments. I play guitar, play bass. I'm a vocalist. I can play saxophone. I mainly played alto and bari saxophone. Um, did I say I play piano? uh,
Never knew that.
yeah, and because I can play saxophone, I can play a flute. Because a flute has a lot of the same fingerings as a saxophone, so basically it's interchangeable. Now, some would say that with clarinet, but I'm not going near those damn things. My sister plays clarinet, and I resent her.
We don't want you to become Squidward. Don't try it.
I hate all of you.
I knew I shouldn't have gone out of bed today. Wait, real quick. Speaking of talent shows, I forgot to mention, that's actually where I first, put my voice out in public too. My 8th grade year, I was in the talent show at my old middle school, and you would actually love the song choice that I had to do. I played and sung Every Rose Has Its Thorn by Poison. And everyone actually liked it. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I can do something with this one day. Anyways, back to you, because I just thought I would mention that real quick.
And yeah, I also play a little bit of percussion. Like usually, if I'm like writing music, I always imagine different drum beats and like how they're going to get played out and whatnot. Plus, ever since 2015, I've been collecting so many CDs. I'm in the 80s right now, and of course, I got every Shinedown album. I have every Foo Fighters album, every Linkin Park album, every Three Doors Down album. Uh, I have some Avenged Sevenfold. I have their City of Evil, self-titled, and the Stage albums. I've got 3 Paramore albums. Got multiple Metallica albums. Skillet, My Chemical Romance, Crossfade, Hailstorm, Led Zeppelin, Stone Temple Pilots, Offspring, Stone Sour, 3 Days Grace, Breaking Benjamin, Greta Van Fleet, Disturbed, Enya, Imagine Dragons, Blink 182, Nirvana, Evanescence, Seether, Stained, Beatles, and System of a Down. Oh, and one Adelita Sway album. So yeah, I've got quite a bit of a collection. I used to have numerous Beatles albums in the past, but growing up poor and whatnot, my brother liked to steal shit, so he would always steal my CDs, and I stole one of his own out of revenge, and he can't do nothing about it.
You know what, actually, though, I'm sorry about that. Speaking of Greta Van Fleet, of course, y'all may know me on the channel. I'm the sports guy, and I have this video game called NHL 19. And one of the songs on their soundtrack, actually comes from Greta Van Fleet. Trying to remember which one it's called. No, 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 no. That's the one. When the Curtain Falls is actually on that album, on their soundtrack, if you will. Other artists on there that I personally enjoy are Panic at the Disco and 21 Pilots. Their song Jumpsuit is on the album. No, not on the album, the soundtrack for the game. And then High Hopes from Panic is on the soundtrack. And I absolutely love that song, and I love that group. And you may not, necessarily like them all that much, but there's one thing that you and I can agree on. Brendan Urie as a vocalist is the master of it all.
No, Freddie Mercury.
Okay, yeah, Freddie Mercury.
Freddie Mercury has the best vocal range of them all.
Brendan's maybe second.
No, Brent Smith.
Stop doing with Shinedown, buddy. Okay, top 3 would include Brendan Urie.
No, top 3 for me.
If you, I swear to God, if you
Actually,
mention
top
another
top 5. Freddie Mercury.
as number 1, of course.
Paul McCartney.
Okay, I can see that.
Shit.
I swear, if Brendan Urie's not in your top 5, I'm going to flip this table over. Not realistically, but
I'm trying to remember all my favorite bands. Jim Morrison.
okay, I can see that.
Dave Grohl. Well, actually, no, Kurt Cobain.
Kurt does have a very distinctive voice.
Yeah. And then, of course, Brent Smith.
I'm going to ask you to leave your own dorm.
Next to the my history of music, there's been other things. Like I've been involved in AV tech for over 7 years, doing the sound room at my, well, running the sound room at my church. But now since I'm not always there, I just do it while I can, and it's actually quite fun. I also have different sound tech equipment that I like to use, so I'm not simply just playing around with it. I know what I'm doing. And I've also had this growing music taste of mine because, like, I mean, I kind of became very disenfranchised from pop because I absolutely hate it. There's so much auto tune and bullcrap; it's not funny. And in high school, I was mainly involved with punk, and I started going into alternative rock and hard rock. And so nowadays, my tastes are very hard rock and metal, heavy metal, because I like Avenged Sevenfold and Metallica. I've even grown into Slipknot, which I used to be very pessimistic towards them. Um, like I did have a little bit of a pop sensibility back senior year whenever I liked two songs by 21 Pilots, which I actually managed to attract one of my ex-girlfriends. I'm like, Lord, help me. And this year I actually got corrupted into K-pop by my ex-girlfriend because like she showed me the group twice. I'm like, holy fuck, these chicks are right. And I was also like, holy fuck, they're good. This is addictive. I swear to God, she got me hooked on twice, and now I've just basically become a Koreaboo. And whenever I mention twice in the group chat or shit, they're like, get your shit out of here.
Åh, tänk oss bli authoritarian.
This is South Korea, not North Korea that I'm talking about. If it were North Korea, we'd have like
We would be
working
having
songs.
a very, 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 very bad time.
Oh yeah, but in South Korea they got some good stuff. I mean, I only go near
Except you,
twice.
Sai. We're looking at you. Get out of here.
Oi, don't diss on them. I mean,
Okay, you know what? You're right. I'm sorry, Sai. Gangnam Style was fun. There was one song we can agree on that should not have been created. Pen, apple, pineapple, pen.
I don't even know what that is.
You don't want to know. We'll put it that way.
Anyways, and I like Twice. I've listened to two songs by Miss A that are good. Momoland is okay, but I don't go anywhere near freaking BTS or shit. Cause one, I don't follow that, and two, I'm gonna admit that I even admitted this to my ex-girlfriend. like, I actually admitted this to my ex-girlfriend that BTS does some weird shit to you. I swear to God, if you watch DNA, you're going to get fucked up. You got anything to add?
Who in the world is BTS?
They're like the biggest K-pop group in the world right now. They even won a Billboard award this year. They pretty much are just basically beloved by every person who listens to K-pop.
Well, I do not listen to K-pop, so I don't really have an opinion on BTS. So
Neither do I, but never say anything about my ex-girlfriend about it or else she will fight you.
I will not get in contact with her. I don't have any ambitions to do that, so you do not have to worry about that.
Anyways, no, I know you. I just got you liking Twice a little bit because I showed you their video for like ooh ah, and you're like ooh ah,
Oh, good lord, you stop that.
auga.
Speaking of which, I didn't really get to say it in the previous podcast for broad culture, but since I'm already here, Roman Reigns, we're all behind you, buddy. Your prayers are, well, you are in our prayers, and we hope that you defeat leukemia and you come back stronger than ever. Anyways,
That
how about we
reminds
do
me.
some questions? I have a good couple of questions, and you can probably think of a couple since.
Well, I also got a little more to say before we do the questions.
You want to ruin all the fun, don't you?
Well, I am the redheaded stepchild.
Yep, folks, there you go. Confirmed. He likes to ruin all the fun.
Anyways, like you were talking about seeing concerts. I'm actually going to be seeing Shinedown in February whenever they come to Huntington, because I saw them back in December of 2016. That was the first time I ever been to a concert before. That wasn't in the sense of like, you know, seeing bands perform in like a classical sense, like WVU's band or
Yeah, you're talking about marching bands.
yeah, stuff like that. I'm talking about like rock bands and stuff. And so Shinedown was my first concert. I didn't like Five Finger Death Punch that much, really. Their sh- their show is just their part of the show is not really good in my opinion. But I can't wait to see Shinedown again, and especially get to hear the songs off the new album because I friggin' love it. All right, so and plus that I'm getting ready to record some new music. Like I'm still recording the concept music for Faded and Stained. It's a strenuous recording type deal. Plus I've been busy, but whenever everything gets recorded and set in, we're gonna be doing filming for music videos for every song, and and our main star is gonna be Hal. He's gonna be playing Ares. We still have yet to cast Ophelia.
And of course, the role of Dash Ireland tonight will be played by Dash Ireland.
Yeah, because I'm going to be the narrator in that because after all I am the songwriter, and like I also go by another name, but that's only in the sense of like wrestling and stuff. Or if people find it too hard to pronounce my real name, I just go by Logan.
Hmm. We're also trying to become managers for our friends, but we will get to that once they've completed their training and such.
Yeah, so I'm Logan Daniels in that sense, and that's also my fake Instagram account for posting memes.
And of course, I will be known as Aaron Domino whenever this whole thing happens.
Otherwise, I'm known as Dash Ireland.
Of course.
Yeah, I love the name. You know, I actually formed that name from my Snapchat username.
Hmm.
Because like from it, the way I would have to say it to other people, I'm like, shit, this sounds awesome. I want to call myself Dash Island. And it actually works out pretty well. There are many people who like that name. Like shit, I wish I had that name. And I'm also recording some new music for an EP that I want to make called Ruthless Age, where it's a set of 3 songs, and they're all called Ruthless Age, Bigot, and Spring Valley. It's my biggest piece on self-expression because it's about not being afraid of who you are and not being afraid to call people out. That's what it's about. That's why there's a song Spring Valley and Bigot. It's all about not being afraid to call other people out and not backing down. That's all. That's what it's about. Because there's always a major theme throughout every semester I have. Like my first semester was about humble beginnings. Then the second semester was about finding a footing, knowing what works for me. And the third semester was about experimenting with styles and whatnot. Then last semester was about returning to basics, and now it's about not holding back. So, you want to get to those questions finally?
Yep. All right. It is now question time on Dash's call, even though he's probably never done this on his other podcast.
Well, it was kind of worked in with the podcast. But right now it's just questions between us. We are not taking any calls right now for Dash's call.
Sorry, folks. That would have to be at a time whenever, we have the money and the technology to do so. Anyways, my first question for you is, out of every artist in history, they can be as obscure or as popular as can be, who would you want to be in a festival concert lineup?
Hmm. I know I definitely want Paul McCartney.
I can agree with that.
Foo Fighters, The Offspring, Fozzy. Um, I'm not having Green Day. No, absolutely not. I would definitely want Twice. Well, let me pull up a list of all the bands I would want to be at a festival lineup. Gotta go through Spotify here.
Take your time. I'm going to be thinking of my answer while you're going through
Oh,
all this.
I definitely want Seether and Stone Sour. The Warning, which is a Mexican band. They're a rock band made of three sisters.
What's surprising me right now is that he has not mentioned the obvious answer.
Just wait. I would definitely go for System of a Down.
I swear to God, if he's gonna put his favorite band as the headliner, I am going to bash his head in with this microphone.
Skillet, Metallica. I already said twice, I think.
Yes, you did. That's now twice that you've said it.
I'm having a hard time remembering. Give me a break.
No.
Adelita's Way, yeah. 3 Days Grace, Adam Gontier, Santa Sonia. But the one band that will be headlining and have the most time to perform,
Here we go.
Shinedown.
Of course. Well.
Sorry, he was bashing my head in with the microphone.
That is a lie. That is some alternative facts. He was knocking his knuckles into the microphone itself.
Stop acting like Trump, man.
I'm sorry. I do not like him, but it's funny to impersonate him. That is the only political stuff we're going to mention. Other than that, it'll be dry. Anyways, my answer.
Dry like my sex life? Oh!
More than likely. Anyways, I would probably start with some obscure groups. For example, I would probably have Stone Broken come in.
The
Like,
the Crimson Wolf.
if we decide to do that, maybe we would bring it. Maybe we would perform. Now some big names, of course. I would want the Beatles to perform.
Yeah,
this
but
is what I got.
two of them are dead.
I'm saying if you could have any of them through history. So
That
This
definitely
was-
would. I would put in the Beatles, Queen, The Doors, Jimi Hendrix, Nirvana.
you already put your answers in. But yeah, taking off of that, yeah, I would also have Queen. They would probably be co-headliners. They of course would be co-headlining with Kiss. And as much as I love Kiss, Kiss would go on before Queen. Queen would close out the festival. I'm sorry, no ifs, ands, or
Alright.
buts about it.
Talking about Queen, I am so excited to see the Bohemian Rhapsody movie.
I think everyone is. Anyways, I would also have Fozzy come in.
And Elias.
Oh, good lord, he would be a side act. Here's one that might surprise you. I would bring in Jimmy Buffett because if we decide to have this festival near a beach, it would be nice to have beach sounds in the lineup, which also leads me to having the Beach Boys be on the festival lineup. Speaking of which, Brian Wilson is actually coming to Huntington, I believe, next week.
Wait, isn't Brian Wilson the guy from AC/DC?
No. That's crap. I can't remember his name, but Brian Wilson is the guy from. He's the lyrical genius behind some of the Beach Boys' biggest hits, like
Oh.
"God Only Knows," "Wouldn't It Be Nice."
How about Meatloaf?
Yes, but on one condition. Besides, of course, him playing "Paradise" by the Dashboard Light,
Bat Out of Hell?
he would have to perform "Hot Patootie" from Rocky Horror. I would pay him extra to sing that song. No joke. Who else would I have? I'll probably have Hailstorm come in, Avril Lavigne.
Nickelback.
We are not putting Nickelback in.
Thank God someone said it. Because Hal would probably be like, oh, we gotta have Nickelback close out the entire show. Headline, man.
Nope. Crap.
That's what Hal would say.
Who else? Probably bring in Panic because got to bring the new age. I would also bring in Gorillaz because they're one of my favorite bands as well. Although it's just Damon Albarn.
How about Tenacious D?
Yes, you know what? I would actually bring in Tenacious D. And I think one more to finish up my question.
Alter Bridge and have him play Metalingus?
Surprisingly, no. I would want. Crap, who else would I want?
Twice.
No. David Bowie. I would want David Bowie to come and sing some songs as well.
Wait,
And
David
I would
Bowie with Prince.
honestly, yes. No, scratch that. Yeah, Prince would be one of them. David Bowie, and the Rolling Stones. I want the Stones to come in. And I would also pay David Bowie double for doing Magic Dance from Labyrinth, and maybe As the World Turns Down or As the World Falls Down, the other ballad from Labyrinth, because my girlfriend has gotten me into Labyrinth, and I love his songs in the movie.
I remember reading a Tumblr post where this one girl who she became a lesbian growing up because of freaking David Bowie from Labyrinth, and whenever she came out to her parents was like, "Damn it, it was that damn David Bowie's crotch."
Anyways,
Oh, wait, what about Alice Cooper?
crap, that would be a good one too.
That yeah, because I love his songs like Poison, 18,
Welcome to My Nightmare, No More Mr.
School's
Nice
Out,
Guy,
School's Out.
Feed My Frankenstein.
Yeah. We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Party on, Wayne.
Party on, Garth.
Anyways,
Swing.
good lord. Anyways,
We gotta watch that movie.
Kanye, sit down. That came from the SNL anniversary show.
Yeah, but here's the thing, like, we should not have Kanye because he ruined Bohemian Rhapsody.
He's ruined life. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he ruins just about anything.
Surprisingly, he ruined the red MAGA hats.
Oh, hey, we're not going racist here.
Nope. We trust us. We're far from it. It's just that.
It's just that whenever people reacted to Kanye being a Trump supporter, I found that rather racist because they were calling him Uncle Tom and whatnot. I'm like, you know what? Just accept someone for having their own political views and whatnot.
Oh, and also, just recently, he put on Twitter he is stepping away from politics. So you saw how quickly that
Ironic.
lasted.
Yeah.
Anyways, pushing away from politics again. Kind of questions. Come on, you got to have a good one.
Oh, here's one. If you can make out of current musicians an all-star supergroup, who would you put in it?
I can tell you who.
Like, who on what parts? And it cannot be the same. And it can't be two people from the same band. It's got to be one person from a different group or band each.
Okay, I think I have a good one in mind. On bass, Gene Simmons. On drums, Lars Ulrich from
Ulrich.
I'm sorry, didn't mean to butcher it. On lead guitar, Slash. On rhythm guitar, because it's gonna be separate. On rhythm guitar, as much as I hate to demote him, I would put Jimi Hendrix on rhythm.
I said currently living people.
Oh, currently living?
Yeah.
Shoot. Crap, then that makes it a little harder.
Yeah. Just put Chris Shiflett on lead guitar.
Who?
He's from the Foo Fighters.
Oh. No, wait. If I'm going to put anyone on rhythm, it's Dave Grohl, because I've seen him play rhythm, and he's actually pretty good at it. So
Yeah.
Dave Grohl would be on rhythm. And you're about to hate me for this. Lead singer, Brendan Urie.
For me, I've had a little bit of time playing this out for many years. I would put Dave Grohl on the drums. The bassist would be Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
That's actually a really good choice, too. But you can understand where I went with Gene Simmons, right?
Yeah. Guitarist, I would have Zach Myers of Shinedown as lead guitarist. Rhythm guitar, I would probably have Sean Morgan from Seether. And on vocals, this is a tough one, but right now I'm going to go with Corey Taylor of Slipknot.
I can actually see that because of the versatility of his voice.
Yeah, which you know that Corey Taylor has actually collaborated with Dave Grohl for the Sound City soundtrack.
Huh. But I think everyone was caught off guard when. No, wait, Corey Taylor. Oh, wait a minute. Nope. That was the guy from Disturbed I was thinking of.
You mean David Draymond?
Yep. His voice is versatile too.
Yeah.
Because he went from
Come on,
down with this.
Come on, get down with the sickness.
Yeah, you do Down with the Sickness, and then they cover Sound of Silence from Simon and Garfunkel.
Oh, and they did Are You Ready and A Reason to Fight off their new album Evolution, which is great.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Corey Taylor's voice is also very versatile too because I've heard him on.
Have you ever heard of the songs "Bother"?
I was gonna say I heard his vocal chops on "The Devil and I,"
Yeah.
and that shows how versatile he is.
Yeah. So we got like less than 5 minutes on here because we got a 50-minute limit.
If you want to wrap it up, let's go ahead.
Yeah. It's all our like musical tastes and whatnot.
Let us know what your musical tastes are in the comment section below.
Actually, I usually disable comments.
Wow.
I have a bad history with people just being enormous dickheads.
As John pointed out in a video in the past, we have zero tolerance towards bullying and cyberbullying as well. So please do not do that. No one deserves that kind of crap, no matter how annoying you may find them or
your prejudice against them or anything.
No one deserves that. You have your opinions; they have theirs.
Keep it to yourself. But
exactly.
if you want to be supportive and be like, talk about, oh, I like this band too, or you guys are doing a good job, keep up the good work. That's some good stuff to say.
Or positive discourse, like I can see where you're coming from, but here's why I don't think
I disagree. Instead of going, oh, you're a fucking idiot. You don't want to go that way.
Right, you can disagree. You have the right to disagree. You do not have the right though to be a total douche.
Yeah. In future episodes, I'm going to try and have more guest stars.
I wonder what we're going to do for Hal or Megan if you can get her on here in time before she graduates.
Yeah, but I mean, right now I've yet to form more topics and whatnot. I mean, I know that we're supposed to be doing some more filming for the episodes of the dashboard, but we haven't had the time lately.
I'll also try to record some more sports-related videos. My predictions for future championships, such as the Super Bowl, the NBA Finals, and of course the Stanley Cup Finals. I do have my predictions down, but I have not gotten around to recording them yet. So be on the lookout for that on the channel here very soon.
Yeah, but the dashboard, our little game show, it's competitive. I mean, I did a punishment video, and that sucked. And John's going to be the one that's going to be choosing the music for the next episode.
Easy though. It wasn't me.
I hate you.
I mean, I love Shaggy though. Shaggy's good.
The only Shaggy I like is Shaggy Rogers.
Shaggy! Like Zoinks, man, thank you!
You did that a little too perfectly.
Yeah,
do it again, imagine, Shaggy gets arrested for, having pot on him, and he's trying to say that he's not smoking pot.
Like Zoinks, man, that's not my grass.
I don't even know what it is.
That's all Fred's, man. Anyways, folks, with the time limit fastly approaching, we're going to go ahead and, I hate to do this for you, we're going to go ahead and call it here with Dash's call, of course.
Yeah, hosted by me, Dash Island, and thank you for my special guest star, Spencer Nicholas.
Thank you for having me on here, buddy. Peace out, everybody.